Alrighty, so we're cleaning dirty water. So imagine a huge big tank of dirty water, and the typical way to clean it is, oh, I see. So you're running in clean water, you're stirring, and then you're running out dirty water. So it's actually gradually it's getting clean, and um, what happens is it gets kind of 10% cleaner every hour, right? So find an exponential formula that gives the number of pounds of contaminant left in the tank after 10 hours. So it says that assume that the cleaning method described here removes 10% of the remaining contaminant each hour. And there's initially 10 pounds or 100 pounds. So we start with 100 pounds. Well, the first thing I want you to do is just figure out what it would be after 1 hour, right? What would happen after 1 hour? And remember, you start with 100 pounds. So everybody press pause on the video and figure that out. 100 pounds, and then what do you end up with? So you got 100 pounds of contaminant in this huge big tank of water. And there's going to be 10% less of that contaminant after 1 year, right? So one way to do it is clunky ways. Yeah, okay, 10% of 100 gives us 10 pounds. So we're going to remove 10 pounds after that first hour. So we can go 100 minus 10. We'll have 90 pounds of contaminant remaining after 1 hour, right? So it's kind of a clunky way. There is a better way to do it where you can go 100 times some number to give 90. So that's the key. Like, how do I go 100 times some number to get 90, right? And there's kind of two ways of doing it, but you can multiply by 0.9 or 0.90, same thing, right? That would give you 90. Or you guys might like to do it this way, 100 times 1 minus 0.10, right? That's another way of doing it. And that gives you 90 as well. So either way, this way or this way, but at least we've done it in one step. So we're not getting 10% and then subtracting, because that takes 2 steps and it's hard to build a formula that way. This makes it easy for us to build a formula and figure out contaminant remaining after any amount of hours, right? Now, this question started and you were supposed to give the formula off the bat. I think it's going to be quite difficult to get around to do that. So I've jumped away from 46A and I'm just thinking about 1 hour, right? That's what I've been doing. So now I'd actually like you guys to like think about part B, or just think about what would happen after 2 hours, basically. So we just gradually try to understand this problem. So after 2 hours, so 1 hour is 100 times 0.90, right? And what that means is we have 90 pounds of contaminant remaining in the huge big water tank after 1 hour, right? But after 2 hours, we remove 10% again. So it's like multiplying by 0.90 again to get 81 pounds of contaminant remaining after 2 hours. Or with an exponent, you can write that 100 times 0.90 to the power of 2. And that gives us our 81 pounds of contaminant remaining after 2 hours. So just for fun then, we'll kind of focus on part B. What's the situation after 3 hours? And just figure out what's remaining, like what would remain after 3 hours. And press pause on the video if you like. So after 3 hours, it's the same thing again, 0.90, and then to the power of 3. And we will have 72.9 pounds of contaminant remaining, or roughly 73 pounds of contaminant remaining, right? And but part B says how much contaminant is removed during the first 3 hours. Now, press pause on the video and see if you can answer that. How much is removed during the first 3 hours? Right, so removed would be, and you would go, well, this is remaining, 72.9. We started with 100, so 100 minus 72.9. And that's what happened. We removed 27.1 pounds during the first 3 hours. So that's the answer to 46B, 27.1 pounds, right? So I guess we'll jump to maybe question for the 46A. So just after that, playing around, can we get a formula for this? Find an exponential formula that gives the number of pounds of contaminant left in the tank after T hours, right? So press pause and try that if you like, and you'll do. And let's see. All right, so the formula would be you start with 100 pounds and you remove 10% each hour. So multiply by 0.90, and then it's to the power of T, right? So that is the formula, right? Number of pounds of contaminant left, and you could say that the amount left, amount left equals that. Or if you wanted to give amount remaining or amount left a letter, let's call it A, right? So the amount remaining in the tank is A. So A equals 100 times 0.90 to the power of T. And of course, that's one way of writing the formula. You could also write it like this. 1 minus 0.10, because we're removing 10% each hour, right? So part C then, and if anyone's watching from home, you can press pause on the video and try it yourself. But how much contaminant is removed from the 10th to the 13th hour of the cleaning process, right? And it's hard to think of these things all in one go. So what I suggest is just figure out what the heck is going on on the 10th hour, and then figure out what the heck is going on the 13th hour, and then think about, okay, what's going on and what do I need to do? So because it's hard to think of these things like all in just one go, and you gotta play with it and try this and try that and plug this in and plug that in. That's kind of how this stuff works. So what all I want you to, the first thing I want you all to try is just, okay, what's going on after the 10th hour? So like if T equals 10 in your formula, what would that look like, right? So if T equals 10, the formula, you just put 10 in for the number of hours, right? And the calculator doesn't like me right now for some reason, but it should be this. There we go. So after 10 hours, I've got roughly 35 pounds remaining in the tank, because that's what's happening. We're removing 10% each hour, removes 10% each hour, right? So there is, after 10 hours, there are 35 pounds remaining in the tank of contaminant, right? So we'll just put that aside and now figure something out for me for T equals 13, right? Like if T is 13, what have we got? So again, it's the same formula, but this time you plug 13 in for T, right? 13. And you get 25.4, roughly 25 pounds of contaminant remaining after 13, the 13th hour, after 13 hours. So then let's try to answer this question fully now. So we've played around, we plugged in what's going on after the 10th hour, what's going on after the 13th hour. Now answer the question fully. How much contaminant is removed from the 10th to the 13th hour of the cleaning process, right? Press pause on the video, try it yourself. Okay, I'm going to do it now. So roughly speaking, after 10 hours, there was 35 pounds of dirt left in the tank. And after 13 hours, there was 25 pounds left in the tank. So we roughly removed 10 pounds between the 10th and 13th hour. Okay. Roughly, but if I want to get a better number, I would do this minus this number. I'm going to round it anyway, but 9.44 or 9.45, right? All right, and so if we're to round that to one decimal place, that would be 9.4 pounds removed between the 10th and 13th hour, right?